Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Not by the Book 2.0, Chapter 4, a space where we explore journeys that don't follow a fixed syllabus and stories that remind us that success is not always written in textbooks. In school, we learn the foundations that help us grow: how to think, how to question, and how to discover our strengths. And alongside these lessons, each of us slowly begins to uncover something deeply personal: our own voice. The voice that tells us who we truly are, what we genuinely feel, and what we may one day create in this world. Today's chapter is about that discovery. It is about a personality who once sailed across the oceans in the merchant navy, decided instead to sail through emotions, poetry, and music, and in doing so, found a voice that now resonates across the whole country with millions of listeners. This session is not only about music, it is about identity, courage, creativity, and the power of being heard. And more importantly, how the next generation, us students sitting here today, can begin finding their own voice in a world full of possibilities. Our speaker today is not just a musician, but a storyteller of emotions, a voice that has helped shape India's contemporary indie soundscape. He is the lead vocalist and lyricist of The Yellow Diary, a band known for blending poetry with powerful musical expression. From performing at some of the country's biggest stages, including being among the defining acts of India's first Lollapalooza, to building a community of millions of listeners. His journey reflects what happens when authenticity meets perseverance. Today, he joins us not just to share his music, but the mindset behind finding one's voice and daring to let the world hear it. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rajan Batra.
Before we say anything, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
When I was in seventh standard, I could not meet people's eyes, forget speaking. You've done a great job already.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Batra, for sharing your journey. To understand your voice more closely, we would now love to explore the moments, decisions, and emotions that shaped it. The theme of this section of the conversation is finding your voice, from discovery to courage to impact.
Okay.
Did your parents encourage creativity and music from the start, or was it something you discovered on your own?
I think it was a mix of both of them. It started with my mom encouraging me to sing, and then at some point, um, I think music became my center of expression. You know how I would like to tell people who I was or define me, in something. So, and I kind of realized that everybody has a talent, and I mean, people would always say that every person is different, and everybody has a talent, and somebody is good at something, and the other person is good at something. And I think for the longest time, I was looking for what was I good in, and music was that thing that kind of outshined in whoever I was as a kid.
That's such a powerful message. What about your dad? Was he always supportive?
My dad and my mom have been superheroes of my life. I think it is extremely important for a parent to understand how big a role they play in a kid's life. Uh, from my mother uh, practicing with me, preparing me for these music competitions in school, to my dad telling me about how like he thinks that I'm a star, whatever that meant at that time. But it felt like they wanted me to get the best of me.
A
So
really
yes.
great story to follow. Was there any teacher or mentor in your early life who recognized your talent and pushed you towards singing?
Yes. I remember. I think I was in the fourth standard, and I was struggling with this question of who I was. And a lot of students, a lot of kids kind of go through this where they sometimes feel unseen. Sometimes they want to kind of find that one thing that kind of defines them within the class of 40, 45, 50 people. Um, I remember being participating in in a competition in school, interclass, whatever competition it was. And my mom prepared me for it, and I stood second. But what happened was that that day, my music teacher in school, she kind of realized that I could actually sing. And so she persuaded my mom and my dad to get me to learn music. And what also helped the most was that my class teacher at that time, I think she was struggling to realize until then who I was and how I could be pushed to be a better student, to be a better learner, to be a better kid in class, you know. And that day, the way she stood up for me, I remember going to the parent teacher meeting, and the first thing she told my parents was, "Your boy can sing." I am so glad that I'm telling you this because you don't know how good he sounded, etc., etc. And that was the day when I felt like somebody held me, you know, somebody kind of supported me. And I feel like that happens very rarely to people. And when it happens, it just does wonders. So, yes,
We also have many of the teachers in our school who support us throughout all of our journey.
that's a blessing. That's an absolute blessing.
Was it scary for you to pursue a path that was so different and unconventional?
I think, and this is something that I've learned now after so many years of uh, trying to do what I want to do. Every time you will try to do something that you don't know, that is unknown to you, that is not a distinct path, you will be scared. And it is not that one type. I became a musician when I started learning music. Um, and as a musician, it's never a case where you have gotten it all. You are forever learning. And it's not just music. I think in general, life is such that you can keep learning till your last breath. And learning means crossing paths with extremely unknown and really like uh lonely paths that you have to walk yourself, and they will always scare you. So yes, I've been scared a lot of times. I was scared when I went to Lollapalooza, uh because it's a massive stage. If I've till that time I had only seen videos of Lollapalooza with the biggest artists performing all over the globe. And then there was the Yellow Diary on that stage with so many people right in front of you. It scares you for sure. But what I've also realized is that you have to feel confident in who you are. It's not about what you can make other people feel. That's the aftermath of what you do. So just concentrate on who you are and what good you do. Everything else happens for its own.
That honesty about fear makes courage feel so real and relatable. At what point did you realize that singing was something that you wanted to take seriously?
I started learning when I was 12. I started learning Indian classical music, which is an ocean in itself. But at some point I realized that it was not for me. I My voice is, it works a certain way, and I, as much as I tried, it was not really like feeling the most me. And so I stopped when I was 18. I joined a merchant navy college and I started studying there. I remember when I was 20, I came back to India for some time off. I had my vacation, and then I started practicing music again because I had no friends. And right at that time, I think it kind of felt like this was something that was far more than just a hobby. And somehow I landed up in Mumbai, and I met a few friends, met a few people who became friends, lifelong friends now, and wrote some music. And the day I had my first song written, uh, yeah, I think that was it. That felt like,
That was such a courageous leap. Can you take us to the journey of how you took a complete U turn from your life as a Navy cadet to pursuing music professionally?
I think when I joined the Navy, I was so in my class in Delhi, you have class 11th and 12th. Um, in my class 11th and 12th, I took non-med, and just like everybody else in the classroom, the next goal was to give exams for your engineering and IIT and all of that. And I was preparing for it, and I did that. But I think as a person, I have always wanted to kind of stand out in a way, not do what everybody else was doing. Good or bad, I don't know. Sometimes you take steps that define you. Sometimes you take steps that you have to kind of go back on and then do what is right and what feels right. So there is no right or wrong. Firstly, you try things, they work, and if they don't work, you try other things. So I thought I don't want to do engineering because everybody else is doing that. There are more than 1 million students every year who go into engineering colleges. And I got an opportunity to sign up for a college which was teaching everything about merchant navy. And I went there. Um, yeah, but I think I took that step because I felt like I wanted to stand out. I was a kid, and as kids, I think we don't realize how much we want to kind of prove ourselves. And I was doing that. And then once I stayed there for a bit, studied that. When I came back, when I did music, I realized that even though I had done something that everybody said, okay, this is nice, you're doing something very different, it didn't feel like me. And when I made music, it gave me the satisfaction nothing else did. So I think that kind of defined it for me.
That's beautiful. Now let's shift our focus to the Yellow Diary.
Okay.
When the Yellow Diary began, did you imagine it becoming a movement in India's indie music space?
When the Yellow Diary began, it was just me and Himanshu Parekh. We met to just write a song called Miles. And then during that writing process, we came to a conclusion that we would like to make more songs, and we would make a studio setup and just make songs and put up on YouTube. There was no idea of it becoming a movement. It there was no idea of how big it can grow. The idea was just to make music because we were loving what we were writing. And even today, I don't think we write from the perspective of how big it can get or who's listening. We write from the perspective of what we're feeling.
That is so inspirational. Your songs often feel deeply emotional and poetic.
Mhm.
How do personal feelings transform into music that millions can relate to?
Okay. I have been dealing with this question of what is art. And the only conclusion, the only understanding that I've come to is art is nothing but an elevated quality of expression. Expression that you and I can just like, I can say I'm sad. But if I can project the same sentence in a higher quality of expression, it converts into art. And yes, a lot of people can do that. Yes, a lot of people can understand it. And yes, a lot of people appreciate it. But also, there are quite a lot of people who know how to do that. Right. So for me, that kind of defines art per se. And then so when you write music, when you express, you find your expression, your for me, I think being honest and being completely able to project whatever I'm feeling was the most difficult thing. I've held up, I've suppressed my emotions so much in my life that when I started writing songs, it became a really big and good medium for me to express myself. And then when I wrote a few songs, a lot of people came to me said, we feel the same way. And what it told me was that we all feel the same things, right? In different situations, you feel sad, you feel happy, you feel excited about things. And I feel the same emotions because the chemical reactions are the same in the brain, just that our situations are different. So when I write music about things that I'm feeling, somebody else can feel the same feeling in their own way. and so it became relatable for a lot of people.
How did you feel when the people reached out to you and they started expressing that they do relate to your music?
um it might sound like I'm giving a lot of jargon, but I read somewhere that art was never for the person who creates it. Art is an expression of the person who creates it, but it is for the people who need it. I write songs not for myself. I write songs as an expression of self, but it goes out to people and it kind of resonates with people who may be feeling the same way, right? So when people came back and said, okay, you know what, your songs are really relatable, or we love it, or whatever, it almost feels like I'm finding my people. It almost feels like it kind of tells you that there are more people feeling the same way as you are. Uh, in some way, it is validation, but in some way, it also feels like a big hug.
Totally agree. Was there a phase when things felt uncertain or slow? What kept the band going during that time?
Okay, so we started in 2015. The band got completed in 2016 February, and it took us 1 year to perform our first show. And that is the most lonely feeling, to be able to just not know when you get to perform and just be practicing. After a point, there comes a point when anybody who's preparing for something that you don't know the timing for feels like, okay, it's not happening. There was this chapter in English, I think in class 6 or 7, about this lady who tried to cross English Channel for the first time, and she could not. And the moment she stopped, she realized she was just 100 meters away from crossing it. And the moral of the story was that if you keep going when you feel the weakest, you get to a point where you realize that you shouldn't have stopped. You've actually crossed it. So I think I live by it, and I feel scared, and I feel uh, weak, and I feel uncertain so many times. But I think with life, what I've realized is, it as an artist, it keeps happening. Anybody, it's not just artists. You as a student, somebody as a teacher, somebody as a working professional, we keep going. So life works in cycles, and we keep going through these cycles. You will feel uncertain probably when you get to your junior college. You will feel uncertain post that when you have to go to a college. You will feel uncertain when you want to get into a job, because you'll be questioning, what job do you want, you know? So this keeps happening. The point is to not stop, just go ahead.
That's an amazing show of perseverance. Many young people struggle to express what they truly feel. Why can finding one's voice sometimes feel challenging today?
Because it is the most hardest thing to accept ourselves.
That makes
I when I was a child, like I said, I suppressed so many of my feelings because I felt like only I was feeling it. And it is surprising how that is a consistent feeling even when you grow old. So many people just cannot accept themselves and not accept the idea that what they feel is also being felt by a lot of other people in the world. So it kind of isolates you. So,
that,
yeah.
that makes complete sense. Do you think creativity is something people are born with or something they can nurture over time?
Hmm. I think it's a very good question. I think creativity is it exists in everybody. Uh, I write songs, and it's a very understood form of art. So we see it as extreme creativity or whatever, whatever, whatever. But if you think about it, the way you write on your notebook is creative, right? Because that's very you. Nobody else does it. Or the way you got there, it required a lot of creativity. So I think everybody's born with creativity. We just, some of us find some elevated sense of it, and that's that.
That's a very sensible opinion. Performing on massive stages like Lollapalooza is a dream for many artists. What changed inside you the first time you stood before such a large audience?
I don't know what changed inside me, but I know it was NH7 2018. That was the biggest stage I had ever seen. We were not even playing that day. We did not get a slot to perform. So we were performing at a club, at a uh, uh, nice venue in Pune called High Spirits, and it's a small place. And we said, okay, we cannot perform at NH7. We'll perform here for the people who are coming to Pune anyway. And I think 4 or 5 days before that show, we got a call from NH7 saying we have a slot that's gotten empty. Would you like to perform? And so we performed two shows that day, back to back. 4 to 5:30 was one show, and then ran to the other show. 6:30 to 7:30 was NH7. Um, we had to go sound check in the morning at 6:30. I saw the stage, and I kid you not, I was scared for life because I don't know how to perform at a stage like this. You can see till the time. How do I explain it? I've played cricket all my life, and I was a bowler, so I would always keep bowling in the nets. And the first time I got a chance to bowl in a match at a ground, it scared me because I don't know how to deal with that. So that was the same feeling when I saw that stage. And so I said, even if 500 people show up today, it's okay because I think I am just going to be performing for the fact that I'm on this stage. There were 5,000 people that night. And the problem with that was that I did not know how 5,000 people kind of sound like. And we usually wear in ears, so we cannot hear anything outside. It's just whatever that is being played on stage. So we were performing Muzz. And as an artist, I think everybody dreams to be on a stage where people are there for them, supporting them, singing with them. And I removed my in ear for a second, and I heard 5,000 people singing, and I could not sing anymore. I cried. It was a complete meltdown. And then it took me 30 seconds to a minute to come back and then sing the song. And I don't think I'm ever going to forget that moment.
That's so inspiring. How is convincing an audience through music different from convincing yourself to keep going on in private moments?
They're very, very different things. Convincing your audience with music is not something that you do. You create what you create, and your audience kind of listens to what you do. If they like it, they listen to it. You cannot control how somebody else perceives what you do. All you can control is what you do. So that comes to the second aspect of your question, which is how do you keep pushing yourself? Every time I write a song, I finish writing it, and the kind of feeling that it gives me, nothing else does. Absolutely nothing. So I think that kind of keeps me going back.
Such a deep revelation. Now let's shift our focus to a direction that will help the students and the parents. What everyday emotion or experience do you think students overlook that could actually become a powerful art or expression?
I am of the class is done. I am not sure of what people overlook, but I feel like in Indian culture, there is, at least of whatever I experience, there is this lack of, uh, pushing each other to speak up more. For kids, it's even more relevant because when you are growing from, let's say, from 10 years old to 20, when you are converting to an adult, uh, your hormones are raging to a degree where a lot of things are just chaos. So when you are allowed to speak your mind out, it kind of eases the brain out so much. And also, what it tells a kid is that it's okay to speak. It's okay to express yourself. And sometimes, and as kids, as students who are going to be adults at in some time now, you will be surprised with the power of expression. If you talk, if you allow people, find your safe people. And I'm pretty sure most of the times, 99% of the times, parents are the safest people you'll ever find. Speak to them, tell them whatever is in your mind. because you'll be surprised how well they can hold you in moments when you feel like you are being overwhelmed. And I felt that so many times, and my parents have kind of helped me.
What would be one piece of advice from you to the students who are trying to become a big shot, like singer or a musician?
Don't try and be a big shot singer. Don't try and be a big shot anything. Just try and be. If you are a good musician, being a big shot becomes a possibility. There is no guarantee that a person can become a big shot in any field. There is only one guarantee that you can try. And as humans, I think the only purpose we have is to try. You try being good at whatever you feel like you want to do, and whatever happens, let it happen.
Totally relatable. Is it more important for young people to explore many interests or to go deep into the one thing that they truly love?
I think it's important to do the both. If you've not tried a lot of things, you would not know what all things are you good at. If you've not given yourself completely to that one thing, you will never know how good you could be in that. So as kids, try as many things as you can. Mm, just figure out what are those things. Just jot down the things that you really like. Give them more love. Try, practice, experiment, and then whatever kind of stands out, whatever you excel in, give yourself to it. Or whatever feels like this defines you, just give yourself to it.
That's really a perspective worth considering. If a student here feels a creative calling but is afraid of judgment or failure, what would be your advice to them?
Well, it took me a lot of time to answer this question for myself. Judgment will never stop. You can write the best songs in the world, and there'll be a comment saying this is not good. I think eventually you don't have to be worried about judgment. You have to be worried about how it feels to do what you do. If it feels great, if your intuition is telling you that you are on the right path, then that's what you have to do. Do not think about how the world sees you, because you cannot control that. Anything that you cannot control, don't think about it. Think about and focus on things that you can control. Think about things that you can make good things. Think about things you can be better at. You can be better at studying. As a student, you can be better at scoring better marks, and that is something that we can actually do. There's one problem in our culture, that we tell people that if you score good marks, it's a sign that you are smart. I don't agree with that. You can score good marks by putting in the effort, but smartness, intelligence, higher sense of being comes from just one understanding, and it's empathy. If you can relate to the student sitting next to you, if you can think about them, let's say you are in maths class, and I was a bad math student, and not because I couldn't solve things, just because I didn't find the right motivation at the right time, right? Let's say you are good at maths and there's another person who's not good at math. It is very easy for people to be like, ha, they don't know how to do this. But just because they don't know how to do this doesn't mean they cannot do it. And just because you know how to do it doesn't mean you know everything. But what tells you that you are good, or what tells you that you are smart, is that if you can think about what the other person might be going through, why the other person is not being able to do what they're doing, or how can you help them, that is what makes you a smarter person. If you can live in the other person's shoe, you're a smarter person.
This is truly inspiring. I'm sure many of us have a lot to learn from you. Thank you for those insightful responses, Mr. Batra. We would now like to open the floor to our audience because inspiration grows even stronger when it becomes a shared dialogue.
Let's go.
So how did you and your band, create a shared vision when you first started?
Um, More than a shared vision, it was a shared emotion. For us, we don't write as five different people. We write as five people serving an emotion, right? So when the moment you are serving one goal, no matter how many people are you all together, considering there is one goal for all of you, it kind of binds you together. So that's what we do.
And just one more question. For the students who are unsure about their direction, what are some like habits that can help them truly discover?
I think try. If you are uncertain about what you want to do, it means you've not really tried everything that exists. When you try everything that you can do, there has to be something that you would want to kind of continue. And if you are see, I don't think confusion is bad. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be not sure about things because you don't have to be sure about everything, right? You can take your time. You can you can try a lot of things. You can research more and see what serves you best. Not all It is not going to be a case always that you will know what you want to do or what is best. Sometimes you will have to kind of try and figure things out, and it's completely okay.
Thank you. Hi. What is one mistake that you made in your early journey that turned into a lesson later on?
I The biggest mistake I made was that I was trying to be like other people. I remember I was in class fifth when they took me from one section and put me in another section. And as a kid, I realized that that was not the best thing to happen to me. And so I found this group of friends in that class who were very cool, who were very tight together. They were best friends. But they've been together since years. And so when I saw them, I started pretending to be them. I started behaving like them, thinking that this would make me their friend. What you actually have to understand is you will find friends because of who you are and not because who you can become. And that is a mistake a lot of people made. I made. And I think if that is something that you can avoid, it'll really help.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my question is that in today's day and age of social media and AI, a lot of people are like constantly comparing themselves or even copying others. So, in this kind of situation, how would you advise young people to be authentic and stay true to themselves?
One, it's a great question. Uh, Two, I think again, we've come to a point where social media is kind of defining what you want to do, what you want to live like, what your house is going to look like, what your outfit is going to look like, even the words you're going to speak tomorrow. I think today more than ever, we need to really introspect and understand who we are. Because I kid you not, the best car in the world, the best outfit in the world, the best restaurant in the world might not give you the satisfaction you're looking for. Because ultimately, you have to understand what you see is somebody else's goal, somebody else's representation, right? It may be nice. It may be something that kind of allows you to know what all you can do for yourself, but it may not be exactly who you are or exactly what gives you happiness or exactly what kind of becomes your goal. And that understanding is something that we need to kind of instill in the culture today. Because, and it's not you. I mean, at your age, it's completely okay to have that question. I have that question at my age. I am turning 35 this year, right? So for me, I go through this, and I was talking to my wife about how we keep seeing these, normal people with big cars, people who overspend on jewelry, people buying really expensive watches because somebody else is wearing them. I don't, I'm guilty of falling into that trap, but I realized it very quickly. Also because it hurt my pocket, but I realized it very quickly that none of that was defining who I was. None of that fit the bill for me. It was not sitting right in terms of representing who I was. So then I started choosing, and I started being selective, and I started trying a lot of things to let myself know what works for me. And then, see, the idea is you choose one thing, and then you understand that what about it works for you. That understanding of what works for you is the best thing you'll do for yourself. And that changes the game.
Thank you. Hi, so my question was, do you believe that success in creative fields comes more from talent, discipline, or emotional honesty?
Wow. It comes from, see, I don't think you can make the best of your talent without honesty. I don't think, uh, I also think, and I will also want you to repeat the list again at some point. Starting with talent and honesty, you can be talented, and there can be thousands of others like you who are talented. But your talent will take shape only when you are honest with it, only when you are you with it. If you're trying to copy somebody else, if you're trying to be somebody else, if you're trying to be like somebody else, it will never work because there is somebody else already. There is no one like you. So that is honesty and talent. What was the next?
Discipline.
See, the thing about discipline is that it can make even the most talentless people outshine everybody else, because discipline outshines everything. If I am consistent with what I'm doing, consistency will teach you so much more than talent will ever.
Thank you. I had another question. What does success mean to you today compared to when you first began?
When I started, I was in the delusion that money is nothing, because I did not understand what it stood for. I thought money is something that people kind of look forward to as greed. But as an artist, now I've realized that the money that I get for the music that I make is not the money that I make, is it's the value that my art gets. If I'm writing a song and let's say it sells for X, then it's not me making X, it's my art being valued at X. And when you think of it from that perspective, one, you will not short sell yourself. Two, you'll eventually make more money. Three, it tells you that money was never the measure of success. Money was not success. It is today, sadly, the measure of success, right? And you don't, it's not about the money that is in your pocket, because tomorrow that can vanish, because life works in cycles, it comes and goes. But success for me is the value that my art has gotten to, right? And that comes from an amalgamation of a lot of things. Yes, the price that people pay for it, but also the number of people who associate with it, the number of people who text me, write to me, call me, and tell me how they felt with the music that I wrote, the number of people who show up to my performances, right? Just in general, all of these things eventually stand for value.
Yeah.
So when you see the whole umbrella, that becomes success. And when you see success like that, it's not that one thing that defines how big or small you are. And that changes everything.
Thank you.
So, I wanted to ask you if there could be any changes brought to the education system to prepare students for real world careers. What would they be in your perspective?
Oh man. Um I don't think I'm the most qualified person to answer this. I feel like there are teachers in this room who have gone through your curriculums a lot better than me, and they would know the weak links in the education system today. And mind you, I passed school some 15 years back in 2010. Uh, in my time, the issue was that I was mugging up everything, and that has changed significantly with classrooms becoming computerized and AI now coming in. Uh, I don't think you have to mug up as much as we used to do. And I kid you not, I would mug up everything and I would forget it in a month. And today when I meet kids who are now, you know, in the same like schools and people like y'all, I realize how much difference there already is in terms of your exposure. So I would say if we can allow people to just understand what it takes to exist in the real world. And by that, I don't mean just allow people to get jobs. I mean, if we can create systems where people understand how to earn value against the work you do, if that is something that we can kind of bring to the curriculums in schools. Now, for example, there was some friend of mine who told me about how they were teaching their kids right from the get go when they were very young. They would have to do certain things to be able to get the toy they want, right? And that is the most basic function of the real world. Nothing comes to you for free. So if that is something that we can bring to people's minds right from the beginning, I think it shapes people up really well. And by that, I don't really mean like put conditions on everything. Love shouldn't be conditioned, but these things can be. I think people can be trained better.
And this is a bit out of the topic. Uh, as a beginner who wants to produce music independently,
Mhm.
what DAW would you like suggest?
I mean, I'm not a producer, but I sit with 4 producers every day, and I have learned a lot from them. Uh, we are heavily using Logic, but you can start with a lot more basic things. If you want to start, you can just use GarageBand. I use GarageBand because I'm not a producer, right? It helps. It's far easier. It's meant for people to kind of ease into it. So that is something you can try. But if you're already above that stage, then there are quite a lot of other doors that you can start with.
So the Yellow Diary does not produce their own songs.
Does. I am a songwriter, but all the other 4 boys are proper producers and musicians. So it's an amalgamation of 5 people who are producing together. But before being producers, I think we are all educated musicians. And once you know how to play an instrument really well, no matter what DAW you use, it becomes a very smooth process. So if there is one suggestion I would give you, before getting into what DAW you should use, get into what instrument you can master.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now, to lighten the mood and discover the artist behind the artist, it's time for a quick rapid fire round.
Okay, cool.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Never. Okay.
One song that feels closest to your heart.
Right now, I think. Do you want me to answer about the songs that the Yellow Diary has written, or in general?
Up to you.
I'm listening to this artist called Olivia Dean, and a bunch of her songs are really close to me right now.
One emotion you find hardest to write about.
I I don't think I find any emotion hard to write about, considering I only write about an emotion when I'm feeling it.
A place where you feel most creative.
Um, Anywhere by myself, anywhere with my bandmates, probably in a studio with a piano.
An artist, Indian or global, who inspires you deeply.
Olivia Dean.
Silence or sound while composing.
So when I'm composing, I would like to be around an instrument with my closest people playing. But when I'm writing, I would like to be alone.
One non musical habit that improves your art?
I think as an artist, it is an everyday struggle to keep yourself in the most positive frame of mind. And one good thing that helps me every day is working out.
Fame or freedom?
Freedom.
One word that defines the Yellow Diary.
Emotions.
If you weren't a musician, what do you think you could be?
I have no idea actually. I have I've thought about this so much. I wanted to be a sailor and then I did not, and I wanted to be a cricketer at one point and I did not. And I also wanted to join the army at some point and I did not. And when I became a musician, that was everything I wanted to do.
One message for your 16-year-old self?
You're okay.
That was delightful. Thank you for playing along and letting us see this spontaneous, unfiltered side of you. Before we close, we would like to turn inspiration into experience because sometimes the best way to understand music is not by talking about it, but by creating it together. We now invite a few students on stage to join Mr. Batra for a short 10-minute collaborative jam session
Okay, cool.
where they won't just perform, but also learn, experiment, and feel what it truly means to express in the moment.
All right, let's go.
So I'll start.
Yeah.
खड़ा हूँ आज भी वही राहे इंतजार है ना 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 दिल बेकरार है छू लो जो मुझे तुम यही हो ना जाऊँ मैं रात नजरों में हो तुम बसे छू लो जो मुझे तुम यही हो ना जाऊँ मैं रात नजरों में हो तुम बसे छोड़ो जो मुझे रात में खो ना जाऊँ मैं ना कहीं नजरों में हो तुम बसे ना 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 Let's go. I sang whatever, but that sounded so good. That sounded so good. Dude, you all are damn talented, guys. You're very talented. Good job. Are you properly learning this?
Yeah, I am.
Ah. But you all have been learning since a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
proper.
3 to 4 years.
So you all play with the band in school.
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of band is it?
So we do school performances like the annual concert that recently
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
We did that. Then events that happened. So we have a drummer, keyboard, guitar, electric guitar.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. And you all play. Do you write some stuff yourselves as well?
Uh,
Start. You are playing guitar so well. You should start writing.
I don't write, but I try to make it on my own. Like, so some app or something I record and then just add the drums. on
That's how. You know how I started? I found a recording tool on my phone finally. I had no idea it exists. And so then I remember I was on my ship and I would just like keep recording these random voice notes. And then I would go back to whenever I was done with my duty, I would go back and then I would just listen to it again. And I'd write random stuff, which today when I go back and look at it and I was like, what was I doing even? But
That's how you start. So,
Yeah.
considering you all are playing already and you're playing so well, start writing. And by writing, I don't mean you have to write lyrics. I mean, start composing.
Yeah, exactly.
Start making, like, yeah, not just riffs, but melodies and
Melodies.
all that you can do. Because you know what that'll lead to? One, it'll allow you to explore your instrument a lot more. Two, it'll allow you to just perform with everybody.
Yeah.
Three, it is such a mental release. It's insane.
That is true.
What else? What else? Play me something. You were playing John Mayer, no?
I'm not
Play.
that firm with it, but Edge of Desire. You played on.
It's a very different key. How would it go?
There's one riff that comes in between. It goes like.
No, that is out of the key.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite pieces to play on.
Yeah. What other song do you play from John Mayer? Do you know Edge of Desire?
This was Edge of
That Edge. You know Edge of Desire. Do you know Slow Dancing in a Burning Room?
I don't play that much of John Mayer.
Oh, let's go.
What are the
And to see it too going down, and I know that my tears so that's it. And I know that I'm not.
That was incredible. What we witnessed wasn't rehearsal, but pure presence. Thank you, Mr. Batra, and thank you to our students for stepping into creativity without hesitation. Thank you, Mr. Batra, for reminding us that finding our voice is not about being the loudest in the room, but about being the most honest to ourselves. Your journey shows that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to choose meaning over comfort again and again. For our students, today was not just a conversation about music, but a lesson in identity, resilience, and creative courage. And for our parents, a reminder that sometimes the most unconventional paths lead to the most meaningful destinations. At Billabong High International School, we believe education must do more than prepare our students for exams. It must prepare them to discover who they truly are and give them the confidence to express that. Today's chapter of Not by the Book 2.0 has done exactly that. Thank you for being a part of Chapter 4. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Thank you for having me.